If we honestly take a step back and examine the school of this anime, it's legitimately one of the biggest WTFs. And it's kind of wild because at face value, it doesn't actually give you that bad of vibes. It does kind of feel like if you were to walk around this school in general, you might need a tetanus shot every other second just because it is rather rusty, a little worn down, whatever. But in general, you're not going to get like major red flags. But this is legitimately just WTF. One of the biggest red flags from episode 1 was seemingly our boy's homeroom teacher, because I'm almost positive, I'm gonna say like there's a 98% chance she was drunk last week at school. Here's the thing, I legitimately knew a teacher from my high school who literally came to class drunk every day, and it was a well-known secret, and it was like 3 years after I graduated that he finally got fired for being drunk on the job. So I'm thinking to myself, hey, you know what? It's not the craziest thing. It happens in the real world. Shouldn't happen, but hey, high school teacher getting a little tipsy is what it is. This bitch comes into this episode, opens up the goddamn shed where our boy is literally looking like he's getting down and dirty with this girl. She is topless. And her response is, come out when you're done. No. Before I get the people saying, well, she's just being a good sport, she doesn't want... No. It's a school, bruh. And I kind of want to play devil's advocate and say, like, she's like, hey, I'm going to call your parents about this. This is a no-no, and I'm going to tell your homeroom teacher. She didn't even know that our boy was in her class. I want to say it's the alcohol. You might want to make the argument because, well, Nuck is the background character, is just playing into that. Sure, but it doesn't change the fact that this teacher's useless. Like, she is horrible at her job. And to make matters worse, if it was just this one singular teacher, there's always at least one bad apple in a school, right? The nurse, whatever she is, she's spying on the students, bro. She's such a hardcore shipper, she's making goddamn flowcharts about who likes who. And you want to know how she gets that information? She has goddamn microphones set up in different areas and she listens into that. How is this school operating? I think the only reason the school hasn't been shut down is because no one's caught on to the bullshittery. But I'm here for more. I have full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see my full link of thought to any of this bullshit. It's going to be over there exclusively. Even better than episode 1 if I'm being 100%. Like, I very much enjoyed episode 1, as if you watched my first impressions that I did. Fantastic first episode, movie quality. I do think episode 1 was the best produced out of these 2 episodes, but it's not like episode 2 was a massive downgrade. It's just usually the first and last episodes usually will get a little more attention to detail. But this still was a very consistent looking episode, and I think the general look of the show is just so unique and different. It's honestly, I stand by my statement. It's like if Shinkai made a TV anime. Like, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting visually. And I think in general, the concept of a show that's literally just about watching a dude who is basically a background character. I'm not saying this is the first time I've seen someone think they're a background character. I mean, look at one of the most popular isekai as of late, The Eminence in Shadow. It's a fun idea. But when you apply that mindset to a rom-com, and rather than the MC being like frustrated that he can't get a girl, or frustrated that, you know, the love isn't happening for him, like, there's obviously in both episodes 1 and 2 these moments where he's like, oh shoot, I never expected this would happen to someone like me. And while he can get flustered and maybe seemingly enjoy it a little bit, it's never like the top of his priority. And to just watch, like, in this episode, they set up like 2 pairings and I was like, okay, I don't see how these are gonna lose, right? Like, they very much feel like they're set for success. You have the one that imploded in this episode, and then there's that quiet girl who basically pretty much got head pats and said, you're a good girl. I was like, there's no way these 2 lose. But it is a very interesting idea to have what is essentially a background character observe the train wrecks. And this is what's crazy. It's like you're watching a train come, and you have like plenty of opportunity to dodge, right? The train's like an hour away, but you just have such Superman level vision. You see the train come, and you see it coming up to 59 minutes and 50 seconds, right? And you say, damn, I should probably get out of the way. And then when it finally hits you and tries to isekai you, you Pikachu face and say, huh, I never thought that train would actually hit me. That's what it's like watching her get absolutely destroyed, because I knew she had to, because it's in the premise, right? It's all about the losing heroines. It's about these girls who don't land their shots. But how do you miss, right? Like, how would she miss in a situation where they're about to sign up for the club, right? You can dual wield memberships to different clubs. You know, she's your girlfriend. Like this, like there was literally Cupid's arrow being fired rapid pace to say girlfriend, girlfriend. And, you know, it starts being like him saying, oh, you know, she probably has lots of boys flirting with her, this, that. And it's like, okay, it's still salvageable. And then he says, I have a girlfriend. And it's just like she got sucker punched. Just to see it, my boy's head, like, shake in disbelief. I was like, the whole time I'm thinking, I know she has to lose, but I just don't see how it could actually happen. Maybe there'll be, like, maybe they're gonna go the route, like, they get together and she loses after the relationship starts. And it's so weird to think that, like, the whole time I'm like, she has to lose, and then when she finally loses, I have a surprised look on my face. Like, this show is something special. I think the rom-com genre, you know, it's needed a bit extra spice, something to really shake up the formula. Because even though there's been some great ones as of late, you can look at stuff like The Dangers in My Heart. There's something about this one that is just so... It's not a parody, but it is a subversion of genre expectations. And there's so many hearts that are gonna get broke. They did something this episode that really made me happy, because I wasn't sure how they're gonna do it. Because before this happened, I think he had like 1,800 yen or something like that. It wasn't a lot of money left that she owed him, which she obviously lowers that debt by giving him lunches, right? What ends up happening by the end is we see it. It starts spinning again, and she owes more money because she forgot her money at home. And it's so funny because it's such a cute way to keep the gimmick going. At some point, my boy's gonna have to question if she be doing this on purpose, because obviously once there's no more debt, then she won't be able to continue to cook for him, and I think it's pretty clear that she's getting some feelings for our boy, at least that's my gut impression. But I like how they kind of have covered their tracks on, like, okay, it's very easy for him to no longer have that debt hanging over her head, so clearly she's gonna have to, like, you know, add into that debt at some point, which they do in this episode. They kind of give you the idea of how, even at face value, characters who you think should be in the clear not to get their head ran over by a train, why it's clearly still gonna happen. And while I have my concerns about if this school should be operating, the only thing I know about the school faculty is one's drunk on the job and allows students to have sex in sheds, because that's what she thought happens, and the other spies peeping Tom style. You can't convince me this school is technically deserving to operate when it looks like half the things you could put your hands on wouldn't mean you need a tetanus shot. Wonderful show, but I would not go to school here. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Christopher Stevenson, Shadow Clone Rex, Zane Sardonks, and Still Zero. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you all have a good one.